everyone! So I'm so excited to finally be entering the NYX FACE Awards. I took my inspiration from the Evil Queen from Snow White, so I decided to do a beggar version of her like she is when she gives Snow White the apple, and then a Once Upon a Time inspired Evil Queen. So I started off creating the beggar look by having my friend Sarah pull her face as tight as she could, and I stippled on some liquid latex in small sections, and I used my blow dryer in between each section to help the blow drying process because ain't nobody got time for that. I let bits of my sponge adhere to Sarah's face as I was doing it, which I know sounds really gross, but in the end it actually gave me a really more disgusting texture for my beggar woman, and I was actually really happy with how it came out. In order for your wrinkles to look more realistic, it's important to take small sections at a time and to do very thin layers. You don't want to put too much liquid latex on at once because then it won't dry clear, it'll be white, and it just won't look good. I didn't really know how many wrinkles I wanted her to have or how gross I wanted her to look. I wanted it to be a more realistic modern day version. Here I'm just adding some crow's feet, if you want to call them that. I was very cautious around her eyes to make sure I didn't get any of her little hairs or anything like that. So here I'm just taking an alcohol-based paint and a very, very fine tip paintbrush, and I'm kind of just filling in the wrinkles that I created with the liquid latex. Here I am airbrushing just some makeup onto Sarah's face. I added a little bit of yellow to it, as you can see, to make her look kind of sick. I also then decided that I did not like the yellow look. I wanted her to be a little bit more pale, so I gave a little bit more definition to some of her wrinkles here, and then in a minute, right here, I'm going over it with some airbrush to kind of white her out. Now I'm just taking like a brown eyeshadow, kind of mixed with black and purple a little bit to create some depth. I went in under her eyes to create really gross looking bags, and I went on her eyelids to kind of make her lids look a bit sunken in more. I took some red as well underneath her eyes to kind of make her look sick. And then here I'm just adding even more depth with some shadow to her smile lines and forehead wrinkles. Because I wanted her to look old, I wanted to create the look of sunken in cheeks. So I'm going in with a super harsh contour, a mix of black and brown, and I kind of drug that in as far as I could, as you can see here. And then I blended it out a little bit. I also did it under her neck and chin because I wanted, like I said, her face to look sunken in, and with what she'll be wearing, it's going to hide everything. Here I'm creating an infection, again, alcohol-based paints. I layered red, blue, and yellow. And then down here I'm just shading her neck to hide anything once she has her costume on. Here I'm just using a white concealer, well, almost white, I'm just really pale, and I'm using, again, the paints to fill in the wrinkles on her lips. So that was the finished look for the old haggard woman. And now here I'm starting off with the Evil Queen. I just put on some primer and I'm setting it. I take a really light purpley gray eyeshadow in the creases of her eyes. I'm doing a dark purple and creating kind of a halo look. I didn't like how light it was, so I added some black on the inner and outer corners. And after that, I take a white creamy eyeshadow to highlight and as the center of the halo eye. So I decided to do a really harsh highlight and contour for the Evil Queen because in the show Once Upon a Time, she is very beautiful and very flawless. I took a lighter shade of concealer and I just airbrushing her makeup on to, again, give her that flawless look. Now just setting everything with a setting powder. Here I'm going in with her contour, creating a lot of definition in her face. Because of Sarah's face shape, I blended out the contour and didn't make it super, super harsh. Here I'm going in with a black eyeliner and I'm just creating a very dramatic, thick black wing. And then I'm going in and filling her eyebrows. So since I did a chest piece on Sarah, I'm covering up her real tattoo here. I'm taking a red and going over her black tattoo, and then I'm going to cover it with a skin color. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like I said, I'm going over it with a fake tattoo anyways, just setting it there. So I made a stencil of a tattoo design that I liked online. I tweaked it to make it my own, but I just needed a stencil so I could have a rough outline for what I'm doing here, which is drawing the tattoo with a alcohol-based marker, and I also use alcohol-based paints to fill it in. I decided to do a chest piece of a human heart being stabbed with a sword because obviously as the evil queen she wants Snow White's heart. This was probably one of my favorite parts of this whole look. I actually used to want to be a tattoo artist. However, drawing this design on Sarah's chest as she was breathing made me realize I actually would never be able to do it in real life. So in order to actually color in the tattoo, I took alcohol-based paints again and another paintbrush and started painting after I finished drawing the design. And this is the part where you will finally get to see the tattoo come together. So as you can see off camera, I went ahead and sprayed Sarah's hair with some black hairspray, adding some mascara and some black lipstick. Then I decided to do some black studs above Sarah's eyebrow. Then we just took a headband and used it as a headpiece. Then for the finishing touch, I added some lavender shadow to the center of Sarah's lips. Thank you guys so much for watching. That concludes my tutorial on the Evil Queen and the Old Hag.